Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Anthony Gonzalez and I'm the Senior Program Coordinator with the Higher Education Center for Alcohol and Drug Misuse Prevention and Recovery. And I want to welcome you all today to our January webinar titled Substance-Free Socials, Building Community on Campus, featuring our presenter today, Tara O'Keefe. Thank you so much everybody for being here. And we just have a few housekeeping slides I'd like to review before we turn it over to our presenter today. Here on the screen should look somewhat familiar as we are in the Zoom webinar format. We do welcome your questions throughout the live session for our presenter, but we do just kindly ask that you utilize the Q&A feature. We do have the chat enabled, so feel free to introduce yourself as well as sharing any reflections and resources as it relates to today's content. Of course, there will be some interaction throughout the session where the presenter prompts you with some questions, so please feel free to put your reflections and responses in the chat. But again, if you have any specific questions for our presenter today, we do kindly ask that you utilize the Q&A feature just so we can better keep tabs on them as they come in. We also encourage everybody to learn more about becoming a member of the Higher Education Center. You can learn more about the different membership tiers and the benefits that go along with them by visiting our website at hecaod.osu.edu. We also have a few upcoming events I'd like to share with everyone. Our next water cooler chat will be taking place on February 10th, and we'll be building on the conversations that we have today during this webinar. The water cooler chat will be focusing on substance-free socials, and again, will be taking place on February 10th. Our next webinar will be taking place in February on the 25th, and we'll be focusing on transitional recovery programming. And we have released the dates for our new prevention professional training series. Those will be taking place in March. They are 3 hours blocks, and you're encouraged to attend all 3 of them in their entirety. You can learn more about the opportunity by visiting our website. And with that, it is my great pleasure to turn it over to our presenter today. Joining us today is Tara O'Keefe, Addictions Counselor Supervisor with Stockton University. Thank you so much for joining us today, and it's my pleasure turning it over to you at this time.
Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Oh, hold on. Now I'm one moment. Are we good, Anthony? Yeah.
Perfect. Yep, looks great.
Great, thank you. Welcome everyone. Like he said, I'm Tara O'Keefe, and you're here with Substance-Free Socials, Building Community on Campus. I told Anthony that I was feeling a little whimsical. It's very cold here in New Jersey. It was 18 degrees yesterday, so I brought some light and some whimsy to this presentation. There is some movement on it, so just to be clear. I'm from Stockton University, which is in Atlantic County, New Jersey. Which is right outside Atlantic City. So who am I? So yes, I'm an LCADC, which is a licensed clinical drug and alcohol counselor. I'm also a registered drama therapist, but I also really believe deeply in the work of destigmatizing and being very transparent. So I'm super neurodivergent. I have ADHD. I'm a mother of 2 boys. You can see in this picture here in oh my goodness, where'd we go? Oh, Yosemite National Park. My partner in the picture is a high school band teacher, and I'm an optimist. And I've been a mental health clinician for 15 years, doing a lot of programming within the community, and where I grew up, which was very important to me. I'm in my 4th year here at Stockton, and I run our collegiate recovery program as well as working within the counseling program, which is why it's addiction counselor. So I'm a counselor. This is my office in the counseling department, but then supervisor of the collegiate recovery program. I'm an Aquarius who turns 40 this year. Creative arts therapist. I got my master's at NYU, which I love, specifically in drama therapy. And I believe that knowledge is power and community and belonging can change the world, which is why I said yes to doing this presentation today and why I love presenting. Okay, so I thought this was helpful. Maybe you want to take a screenshot, maybe not. But this is kind of, I break up what I do into 6 kind of buckets. And I'm in the alcohol and drug education program, collegiate recovery program, and I work in CAPS. So we have substance-free and recovery housing. We have 4 dorms, 16 beds of recovery housing on campus, and substance-free housing. I oversee specifically drug and alcohol peer educators. I run our drug and alcohol education program. I just did a training, naloxone training for the student athletes, which is 417 student athletes that all walked out trained and given Narcan in their hands. So it's things like that, plus tabling and quarterly things. Comprehensive wellness support in terms of being an individual counselor and group counseling, our collegiate recovery program, which encompasses all of our programming and all of our meetings on and off campus. And then I work in community partnership. So something that I think is important as we go into this conversation is I work with our local state, our local um, municipalities for the addictions counseling parts. We have a stigma-free Atlantic County. We have nonprofits, and I have really good partnerships throughout my small community to help support what we do here at Stockton. Okay, so always like to give you an overview of what's happening. We have introductions, goals and learning objectives. We're going to planning, what that looks like, collaborative leadership, mistakes I have made, which is everyone's favorite, and actually my favorite, because I learn more from my mistakes than my successes. Question and answers, and then closing reflections. Yeah. Okay, so in the chat, could you, if you feel comfortable, share your name and one thing you'd like to learn today, just so we kind of have a understanding maybe of who's in the room. Maybe there's something you should know about me. I mean, I should know about you. Um, and so it's also even for yourself, like a little check-in. What am I going to do today? What do I want to make sure that I get out of it? Because we'll set that intention and then you'll get it. Hopefully. And yeah, just putting it out there in the universe. Someone said they already learned something from the previous slide. Yay. Um, One thing I'd like to learn today is how to support student orgs in healthy and safe social practices. Okay, I'm like going to take notes. Student orgs, healthy practices. Um, it's not on my slides, but I can tell you what I do to support them. Oh, good, I can do this whole thing. And campus prevention and how to engage students. Cool, we can do all of these things. Thank you for everyone that put something in the chat. If you didn't, maybe you wrote it down on a piece of paper, just put it in the universe. I'll see what I can do. Okay, so my goal today is to share as much information that I have with you in the short amount of time that we have. To understand, identify, develop, and explore the impact of alcohol-centered norms on inclusion and engagement. We know the norm of college is drinking. That's kind of like the go-to, drinking and now really cannabis use. And so what that impact is on community, principles for designing successful substance-free events, takeaways, and some proven things that I've done that have really worked. Okay, let's throw a party that's sober, inclusive, and fun. So this is actually the beginning. I've done this presentation in many different iterations. And I love that so many people are excited about it because programming is such a big part of what we do. And sometimes we see it as like this ancillary thing, but I actually think it's the basis of what we do. So a CRP, or collegiate recovery program, sober, inclusive, fun. So sober, no drugs, no alcohol, really leaning into that. You can create an alternative environment in school. You can create an alternative environment in college that doesn't center around those norms. One of the ways we have to do that is to end the stigma around it, to talk about it, to name it. I did it with the athletes. I literally said, if someone says they don't want to drink one night, you say okay, and that's the end of it. We want to normalize being sober as being a choice and a very valid one. Inclusive. We want to think about neurodivergent. We want to think about physical ability. We want to think about time of the day. We want to think about locations. We want to think about different populations across campus. And how can you be as inclusive as possible, considering all of those things? So if we do a carnival style thing, we're not going to do all of the games that are physical. We're going to make sure that some are, we had a game room and we had chess and checkers in one, because maybe that was more accessible to other people. I've created sensory rooms during big events, and bought a whole bunch of sensory stuff for the rooms so that, and they also had some of the games within the room so that the same people could experience what was happening out there. So, right, more around equity between people. And then fun. So people that are in recovery, like, they didn't get sober to not have fun with their lives. So I believe one of the big parts of celebrating people in recovery, celebrating life when you're in recovery, is to find the joy and to have fun, and to let go of any pretense and bring the things that do the things that bring you joy. Okay, so where do we start? Planning, collaboration, and leadership. Make a plan. We're going to break these down. We're going to collaborate with campus partners. And then leadership. I really focus on peer leadership because that's the thing that promotes the most inclusivity. So inviting all different campus partners, from fraternities to the Multicultural Center to athletics to student orgs, um, to the Veterans Association to the WGSC, and getting people's opinions from there, talking to them. Have your students go talk to them and figure out how to make them feel more welcome. Okay, so here are some key components. You got to plan ahead. And we always say that, and I always think I'm planning ahead, but it comes down to it, and then I'm scrambling. So something I find is really helpful is I create a full programming schedule for the entire academic year. And so it has everything on it. It also has key partner stuff on it. And yes, you have to figure out what works for you though. I need it to be printed. I need to be able to hold it and see it. I need to put other key campus partners things on here. Um, that's important. Plan ahead. Theme. I always think a theme is super helpful, but picking one can be hard. Lean on the students to pick your theme because you pick a theme. I know that I think I'm hip and cool, and then they very quickly remind me that I'm not. So they pick the theme. Don't forget marketing and how important that is. Marketing principles in college, posters, social media, email blasts, and if there's any like digital platforms. So we have like a thing called an Offspray Hub, or shoot, I even had a student post something on Yik Yak because I was like, I just need to get the information to them. Activities. Make sure there is something to do, make sure there is something to eat, and make sure there is something to win. Do, eat, win. That's like my little formula. And it doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be outlandish. It can be a fidget toy, it can be who knows, it can be a post-it note, but something to do, something to eat, and something to win. Okay, so when we think about planning ahead, we want to start early. I also love a timeline. A timeline, okay, this week to this week to this week. Your timeline is going to get messed up. So be flexible in your timeline. Give yourself wiggle room within your timeline. And then learn from your mistakes of last year. One of the best things I have learned is that when we finish one program, we sit down and we have a download about it. Okay, what worked? What didn't? How'd it go? How did it not? I still don't do them as timely as I want to do them. However, it doesn't matter when you do it, just and integrate that. Taking your ego out of the way, thinking that you have to do it right or perfect every time. No, it's going to be messy. It's going to be fun though. Um, I'm looking at the chat. There's so many things in the chat. Anthony, I'm hoping we can maybe like print out all the questions in the chat. And also, if I don't get to them, bring them over to water cooler chat. I'm just thinking about these things. Okay. So the importance of a good theme, values, and intention. So theme, student chosen all day long. I think I'll have a fun one. It's not. embedded psychoeducation. So I'll show you some examples, but if you're going to do um, an event that we're going to have board games, we want to make sure that there's also some psychoeducation for prevention and substance abuse with it. So when we have a board game night, we have like blood alcohol level understanding cards and like knowledge about um, alcohol intoxication and sickness. And so when they come, they pick up a little card or something, they get a little takeaway. We have one that is, we had a movie night and we did a harm reduction movie night. And so we gave out harm reduction tools around um, like self-care, honestly, is a great way for harm reduction. Again, BAC, we had a date rape awareness Taco Tuesday, and they got the bracelets that you can pull out and with your cover your cup. Those are good takeaways. And that can be the takeaway, that idea of like they get something like a prize. Yeah. So it's like this, it can go onto your keychain, and then it comes out and it goes over your cup and has a straw. They're called nightcap. It says you're covered. And so like really actionable things that these students can use to take with them. Okay, continuity through advertising, activities, and programming. So make sure there's one color, there's one theme, and there's one communication. Flow with the seasons. There is no reason why we have to work against everything that's happening. Work with it. Be cheesy, do a wintry thing. And I think most of us know this, but just reminding you to lean into that. Okay, so these are some examples of ways that I get people engaged in sort of advertising. And I have a couple slides here, but these are our punch cards. And this is going to be another slide too, but these punch cards is a way to engage students throughout the week. So what I do in the fall and the last week of October is a thing called Sober Week. And Sober Week is a week-long festival of sober activities for collegiate recovery. We have tabling. We have a movie night. Well, this was 2 years ago. Taco Tuesday, Fright Festival, and Abusa. And so they get a punch every time they come to them, and then they get to turn the card in and win a prize. And then when they're actually at the Big Fright Fest event, which is our Big Flow and Abusa event, this Fright Fest was the theme one year, another punch card. And then when they turn that in, they get to win the door prize. So it's like gamifying. I think I take my neurodivergence into everything. Like I gamify every moment so that we can stay engaged. I just print them out on a little card. So, and they have directions on one side and punch cards on this side. And if anyone wants to, if I can keep this chat, if you email me or you give me your email, I can send you everything I have. I can send you PDFs of what I have and you can check it out. Everything's made on Canva. Okay, so this was 2 years ago. Posters. So posters are really important. These are really eye-catching. These like leaned into the theme. Lola Nabuza. So Lola Nabuza is a Lollapalooza. Uh, if you know, you know. It is, we had our 20th anniversary last year, and it is a big sober festival on the night before Halloween, which in New Jersey is one of the biggest drinking nights of the year. I think that's also like nationally, but I'm not sure. I at least know New Jersey. Mischief night. And so we always have it as best we can on October 30th, the night before Halloween. I expanded it when I got here into Sober Week, so we had really prevention leading up to it because we deal with three categories. We deal with intervention, prevention, and recovery. Those are the three buckets for collegiate recovery programs. So intervention and prevention, right? So intervention, someone needs help right now. We're going to be present all through Sober Week so that they know where they can get resources if they need intervention. Prevention is the things like the covers, is the things like, so mocktails. We serve mocktails and we give out recipe cards for mocktails and we give alternatives and ways to bring things with you and be safe if you don't want to tell people you're sober. Just like really any option for harm reduction. Lola Nabuza, you can see the poster on here. We want to keep it simple. We want to keep it engaging. No spirits, just fun. We don't hide the fact that it's a sober party. We're very clear about that we are collegiate recovery and we're the sober party. Now, this was this year, and I was so surprised that the students pick a 90s theme, but they totally did. And I like I was a little like, oh, I'm a theme now, but I also really love this idea of that they picked it. So these were our posters for this year, was just the thing I'm most excited about. Um, because I've learned from what I did last time. So you can see on the right here the sober week. We did a 90s game night, which was super successful. So we did it at night and we did all 90s snacks and food. Don't give me a theme, right? So we did um, ring pops and fruit by the foot, and it was 90s candy. It was Dunkaroos, and we did a cereal bar. So we did Count Chocula and we did all the Boo Berry, and the students loved it. They filled these big bowls and they got to have, and then we had games. And I did 90s games. I did Twister, I did Trouble, and I did games they liked too, Uno, and they laughed and they had fun. And we also gave them resources on campus about we give like recovery resources, where's they can get support, peer educator resources. And then on Tuesday, Taco Tuesday again, we gave out the date rape kits, drug kits, and keeping people safe. We also have a big wheel that we spun. It was so much fun. We did a whole Narcan tabling day where for 2 hours we had my connections at the state come in and we gave away 100 different Narcans and trained 100 of the general population of students. And then we had Lola Nabuza. And as you can see, um, free. That's a big thing. Everything at this event is free. We have food, games, dancing, prize baskets, all of these things listed. I'm going to keep going because I know that I have things on more slides. Okay, let me look at the time. Just other things to note that I do. We have our Recovery Rocks Research Fair. We participate in National Collegiate Recovery Week, which through ARHE, which is in April. So I split it up that I have Sober Week in the fall and I have National Collegiate Recovery Week in the spring. And I do big week-long stuff. And then throughout monthly like themes of education throughout the year. But mostly I focus all the programming on those two things. Should have worn my shirt. We made this into a really cool shirt and some really cool stickers. We do an art of recovery workshop. Moore is a self-love um, Valentine's Day workshop. What things we can do with love. Mocktail Madness we did in March last year, where we put out a different mocktail every week. Monthly tabling, MLK Day of Service, which I talked about when I first came on. We're doing an Equality Health Fest about in support of our LGBTQ population and ways that their health can be prominent because health and substance use and recovery, neurodiversity celebrations, because a very high percentage of our students who are in recovery are also neurodiverse. And we do some art and grief workshops as well. Okay, so I tried to be, because we're talking about sober socials in general, I'm trying to give you as much as an overview as possible. So, um, activities at any event, get volunteers. I have 40 volunteers for Lola and Booza, which is a giant festival, or giant big fest. We had 2 years ago, we had 600 students. Last year, there was a hurricane, so we had 400 students. But it's very well attended. So I had 40 volunteers for that. And so all of the activities have at least one volunteer there. One, it's for the punch card, and two, it's to keep people engaged in the reason we're there. Um, Collaborate with campus partners. There's no reason why each different game can't be supported by a different campus partners. The idea that we have to do this alone just because like we're the ones doing collegiate recovery is just not true. We have an educational outreach fund, WGSC, Multicultural Center, Veterans Affairs, student development, fraternities and sororities. We have so many different places we could partner with. You should leverage those partnerships in these big um, events or small events. It also will get the population of those communities to your events because I deeply believe that while we're having sober events for our sober, amazing community and the students that are sober and need a place for that, we're also doing it for the general population because we're educating them on what it means to be sober and that it's an option. So we're going, that's part of the inclusion. Okay. Photo booths are great. Escape rooms have been great. Face painting is always well received. Game nights, bingo, sports themed, like the Mocktail Madness. We have a gaming club. We did like a Mario night. Cornhole is always fun. Pool, darts, use what you have at your university. So many of us on universities have spin the wheel and win something. Plinko, where you like drop it and it goes down and then you have to answer a question. Anywhere that you can integrate questions about substance use or harm reduction or um, saving lives, do it. I also got a gumball machine this year. And so they turn it and they get a gumball in whatever color that is. That's like the prize, the question, the answer, and the prize they win. And it's just like another creative way to think about it. Costume contests, D&D. I have some students who love D&D. LARPing, I should have capitalized it all, but live action role playing is also a fun one. And then theme for the time of year. Give me a time of year and I can pick a theme, like the Kona More because it's Valentine's Day and um like lean into it and make it whimsical. Okay, food. Food, 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 food. So the more food the better. But good food. Sometimes I like to get creative. Not sometimes. Come on, look at this. So I like the Dunkaroos and we had Dunkaroos and Gushers and the Fun Dip candy and like I had 20 different kinds of 90s candy and now I can use it for other things. But get creative with the candies. We so often are like, here's some Hershey's Kisses and here's some fidget toys. Think outside the box. Get them over to your table. Get them at the events. Um, my suggestion, monitor your Oh, unfortunately, our funds don't allow us to buy food. It makes it so much harder. So, one of my suggestions is I don't know where I'm getting to it. Collaboration. Yeah, it's in collaboration, but um, I want you to think about the idea of partnerships across the board. And sometimes when I have had a, especially because we're a CRP, getting a treatment center to sponsor food for an event. And so we would they came in and brought cookies for a Christmas cookie event that we had, and it was Victory Bay came in and did that. And so that was really fun. So thinking about where you can leverage outside community partners to help with funding. The other part of the food and funding is if you partner with student development, if you partner with fraternities and sororities, they have money. And so when a Taco Tuesday, I don't pay for any of that food. That is entirely student development. They throw $1,000 in tacos out and we just come and we bring the vibes and we bring the fun. So think outside the box in terms of who can buy you the food. And yes, it takes more time to make those relationships, but then they're sustainable. And then for them, they get the programming and all they have to do is give out the food and they don't have to worry about the planning. I hope that's helpful. Um, don't forget mocktails, just because I think we show them all the different things they can drink, even besides like a Celsius or that, right? Like show them that we can drink, have lemonade and iced tea and different fun things they can drink. And candy is always a good, easy one that a lot of people can usually spend money on. Okay, prizes and giveaways. keep them on theme, think about what the kids actually want. Our biggest prizes are, and I'll just say it here, even if it comes up on a later slide. When we do Lola Nabuza, the game is you participate in the activity, you get a raffle ticket. You take the raffle ticket over to our tabling area. There are 10 to 15 tables with Recovery Centers of America, Enlightened Solutions, local recovery centers, and or nonprofits, and they each one of them have come and donated a prize. Usually we say it's like a prize basket. So someone donated a Nintendo Switch, someone donated a TV, someone donated a gift card for a massage and a month of yoga classes and a yoga mat. And I have different themes for each one that they're donating, and they come, and so the student has to come over, they have to engage with the table and the resources, and then they can put their raffle ticket inside of the bucket to win the prize. And at the end of the night, each treatment center comes up with their prize basket, and they pick out of their basket the where the raffle tickets are, and that person wins the basket. And so we are not spending any money on the prizes. Recovery centers, treatment centers have this in their budget. It's part of their marketing budget, and it's great for them. There's, collegiate recovery is can be a symbiotic relationship. I worked in treatment for a long time, and so I have those relationships as well. And it's a great way to be sustainable and all of that. How do you keep raffles from the mindset of gambling for the students in recovery? That is such an incredibly great question. And none of my recovery students have brought that up, that they feel triggered by gambling, that they're gambling. Maybe it's because there's no money involved. So every single thing of the entire night is free. The only things they have to get the raffle tickets, they have to like play games. They have to go get their face painted. And so maybe because there's none of that, that didn't engage the gambling part of their brain, but it's something you're making me think about, which I really, really like. 9 times out of 10, my answer is always going to be, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Are you triggered? Because this is the thing. We don't want to take away they go to bingo. We have bingo on campus. There's lots of things that engage that pleasure center part of their brain. And how can they do it? And if they're triggered, talk about it, and go use their resources rather than just disengaging. And then if they want to disengage, they can. They can participate in every single game and not win anything if they don't want to. Psychoeducation and prevention into the giveaway. So in the baskets, we also have psychoeducation. If it's multi-day, make the punch card, candy for everyone, and giveaways are advertisements for inclusion. So make sure that if you're having treatment centers, that you have a wide variety of them, or if you have make sure that I did like a hair baskets one year, but I did natural hair baskets and curly hair baskets and straight haired baskets because I wanted to make sure that we were very clear that it was inclusive for all hair types and all beings. Okay, so leadership. Cool, cool. I'm just reading this for a second. Okay, I was reading the chat. Leadership. Students invite other students in. Get the students to be the ones that are at the table inviting, like advertising throughout. Get the students to be the one on the Instagram inviting them in. We know that students engage students. That's a student underneath there that was the DJ. Engage them in every single part of it. If a student is someone who's DJing, that there's going to be like a buy-in. They model engage in healthy behaviors. Highlight your recovery students. Let them be leaders. Let them, I mean, I ask them, does this sound fun? Do you want to do this? And they're like, yeah, this is great. Let them celebrate that they're sober. I have the students make fun of me when I'm I'm like, you gotta be out and you gotta be proud. And they're like, wrong group of people. And I'm like, no, it's the same. So it's they just like to bust my chops. But I will if you feel comfortable being like, hey, I'm sober and in recovery, be that way. It invites people in, right? Law of attraction in that way. And so that I had most of all of the recovery students volunteering for this big event, and they do for other ones. They table, they talk about their experience, and they also just get to be of service, which we know is such an important part of collegiate recovery. Um, they create the ideas, they pick the food, they create the communication, they run the stations. I'm a supervisor. I'm there to support, I'm there to stage manage, but they run the show. And I think that it makes it all the more successful. Oh, this is also something you can see in this top picture. We have wristbands. So if we do a big event, we make it like you want to get there. So we have wristbands, like they do at frat parties. Because like the kids think it's fun, but like you don't have to get a frat party just to be like, I'm in. So we give them wristbands. They check in with their phone or whatever. You get a wristband, then you can participate in everything. And I think it's so fun. We have a line out the door. Um, okay, collaboration. Everyone gets to buy into the vision. So these are the places we collaborate with. EOF, student development, Res Life is another really big one because we have recovery housing. Um, Clubs and organizations, the theater club has participated and helped us, which is just great. SET is student entertainment team. The counseling center, of course, the wellness center, they volunteer, staff volunteers all the time. We had 40 volunteers, half were staff, half were students. Be Your Hero campaign is something in New Jersey. They came and set up a table. It's about drunk driving awareness prevention. Local businesses, so the Spirit of Halloween is here in New Jersey, and so they donated a costume room and they donated 70 costumes for this. And so we were able to give costumes to students, um, Halloween costumes to students who were couldn't afford costumes. And it was probably one of the most well attended things. And we let them dress up and we have stuff that they can take makeup with it as well. And that was just something we came up with together. So it's figuring out the partnership and leaning into what they can give. Local treatment centers, like I said, community organizations. The Women's Gender and Sexuality Center were there. They partner with us on the date rape drug night. They're always there with us there. And fraternities and sororities are great. They love to participate because, and it's called Hollow Week here. I don't know if that's a national thing. I'm new to higher ed, but Hollow Week is the week of around Halloween that there are some of the biggest parties of the year. And so I feel really privileged that the fraternities and sororities recognize that and pay it forward that like we also could have big parties in these other ways. So I also feel like I'm teaching the fraternities and sororities alternatives ways to have sober fun, which was one of the questions. Okay, there's a big um students. This is great. I want to read that when I have a second. Thank you for sending that, Jillian. Okay. Mistakes that I made. Overcommitting. It don't matter what. The reason I do week in the fall and a week in the spring is because if I do stuff all year long, I overcommit and I get burnt out. I didn't ask for help the first year I did it. I didn't collaborate with anyone, and we only had 200 students come, and all of our stuff fell flat. Timing of the event. I used to leave more time, a smaller time window. People are more engaged for longer. Um, Staff choosing the theme. We chose the theme 3 years ago, and that fell flat. Um, Not collaborating. I kind of am not asking for help, and doing things last minute. I have a handful of things I do last minute, but most things I'm going to do ahead of time. What I've learned, collaboration is essential. Trust your students. Always order more food. Always order more food. Always. Which is where I mean, as I'm talking, I'm like, you could have, if you had outside people that bring food, they could also bring their advertisements. You could totally do it up that way. Um, Make it the place to be. Constantly be talking about it the week before, get people excited about it. We go around and do this thing called reverse trick or treating, and we stand in the hallway and we give out candy and flyers for it, and have fun. Have fun. Now everyone knows what Lola is, and they know that if the recovery program's throwing a party, it's going to be a good one. Okay, so why does this all matter? Does all this matter? Substance-free events create space for students' well belonging, equity, and well-being. They deserve to have a space just as much as everyone else. By intentionally creating substance-free spaces, we destigmatize what it means to be sober and create a new norm that could be open for a conversation for change. It's my like mission. Okay, so Q&A and group brainstorming. I want you to take 3 to 5 minutes to write down one actionable step you could take to apply something you learned today on your campus this semester, and then, or maybe next semester if you'd rather. And then one question you have for myself or the group to help you make this a reality if you're stuck on something. Setting the timer now. Jillian, this is a great idea. Taking the tickets and raffles out, and that as long as you're there. I think the thing that I would um, worry about is people not participating, like showing up and um, scanning in and then leaving. I worry about that. Mm. I'm gonna give it another second, then I'm gonna answer a couple questions. You also you can do this like writing thing can be just for you and making your brain work and prevention and getting students around substance use. I hope I did that today. Mhm. Someone wrote earlier, hoping to learn best practices when it comes to supporting students' social life while reducing harm. I think the key principles for me are naming what is, knowing what they're going to be doing, and figuring out how to take the judgment out of it and give them really good resources. I say, I don't care if you're drinking. I care if you black out. I care if you're drinking, if you're in recovery. But if this is like supporting students' social life, right? And reducing harm. When I hear reducing harm, it's a normie who is going to be engaging in substances. 1 to 1, I say drink a beer and drink a bottle of water. I give them real sustainable things that they can take with them. Okay. Previous research suggests that mocktails can be problematic for people in recovery, but also they are a popular and commonly used marketing tool. How do you weigh the pros and cons? I totally agree with this. So I relate to as like drunk goggles. I detest the intervention of drunk goggles. I think you are glorifying being drunk and I hate it. Um, I think that people in college know that drinking is a norm and cocktails are a norm. And so by saying mocktails, it doesn't necessarily, maybe in a different setting, but in a college setting, I perceive the reception as different. It's one of the reasons why I wrote mocktails and fun drinks. A lot of times I won't even use, I did Mocktail Madness. Um, but a lot of the, and specifically Mocktail Madness because there's a lot of drinking and sports. And so naming that, like calling that out, and that when you're watching March Madness, you can have an alternative. Um, but you can just call them fun drinks and go that way. So I think that there's those are my pros and cons. Um, I would love to attend the ARHE conference. My university denied my request, so I'm trying to figure out how to make it work. But I really hope I can because I would love to present and be there with you all. Oh, I can type answers? I'm not going to type an answer. Oh, cool. Where'd they go? Okay. So in my situation, I would be an outside drug and alcohol prevention organization wanting to come into campus to do something with the students. Awesome. Here, I can just move this over here. I work with Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and we are starting works on creating a college age program and focused on impaired driving prevention, underage substance use prevention, and how mental health plays into both. Where could we start with reaching out to campus to have a campus org, one to invite us and endorse the presentation? Um, can you, Genevieve, maybe write what state you are in the chat? So I would whatever school you're going to go to, I would look at their counseling and psychological services. Bye. Counseling and psychological services, alcohol and drug education, and residential life. Those are going to be the three areas that you might find things on recovery housing, addictions counseling. Those were the places I would look. I would look for the person that's named the addictions counselor and reach out to them. You also could look in health and wellness. So usually collegiate recovery program is either under like health and wellness, or it's at counseling and psychological services. So health and wellness, like the health center, health peer educators, they would be a good resource to connect with as well. Yeah, you can totally talk to student affairs. If you want to just cut it out, just yeah, go right to student affairs and ask them where to go. I also, Genevieve, if I think that's how I'm saying it. Oh, I work for mission headquarters, but technically I'm in PA. Oh, a little north of Stockton. If you want to send me an email offline and kind of talk it out, I am also happy to do that as well, to give you more. Do you offer smaller scale socials year round? I do offer a couple smaller scale. Um, let me, where's my, these are the smaller scale ones. So the Mocktail Madness monthly tabling events, usually on a theme. So I'll do like a cannabis awareness month. We'll do a substance alcohol prevention month. We have and I theme it out. Back to class support, men's mental health month, smoking and nicotine awareness month, hazing prevention month, because we do a whole hazing prevention thing. So we'll do that monthly. And then these are some other, like the Neurodiversity Awareness Month. We're also participating in the Eating Disorder Awareness Month and the co-recurrence of substance use and eating disorder. So yes, I do, but it's less socials. Like these are my fun big events. The other ones, I consider them more like psychoeducational community programming, which really is just a social. So yeah. Thank you, thank you. Curious about strategies for generating buy-in from students that engage in regular CRC programming. I fully agree that the CRC should be student-focused and student-run, but what has worked to encourage students engage and build your core CRC participants? Building the core CRC. Cool. I find that the best thing for me to, so we have recovery housing. That is a really good basis. So I focused my first 2 years on building that. We had 2 people in recovery housing when I got here. We have 9 people in recovery housing now. Those 9 people are our core, like CRC. I have the alumni stay very connected. So I have 3 alumni who still come to our all recovery meetings, still volunteer at different events. And so using the alumni from the CRC also starts to expand it. There's also a bunch of students here who I just happen to know because I've worked with them through their recovery, and I just see them in the hallway. They typically say hi to me or they'll hunt me down. And I invite them into it. I invite them to speak in an all recovery meeting. But I think my all recovery meeting that I have every week, it is every week, Thursdays at 4 o'clock without fail. If I am sick, they still have it. That creates that like solid community. And really like supporting them every single week, no matter what. Yeah. The other thing I would say is I finally have gotten some really good marketing. I worked with our marketing department, and that first page I showed you with all of our stuff, um, I am going to go around and I'm going to go around to treatment centers and I'm going to talk about our program and I'm going to invite people in and um, really lean into the fact that Stockton was started as a community, it's not a community college, but it was a small local college. And how can we, I have high schools that we partner with. And so we'll be at Discover Stockton Day, we'll be at new student orientations. That if you're coming and you're like, wait, maybe I want a substance-free experience, they can be a part of our community too. Thank you. I would love to be your friend. Um, Consistency in programming and being visible on campus. Yeah, totally. Um, Thank you, Juliana. You're so excited to implement some of these. Good. I hope you implement them. Let me see. Um, does anyone want to shout out one of their something they're gonna implement right away? Something they think they're gonna do that's fun this spring semester? Consistency in program. Yeah. Yeah, I think consistency. I'm really I really leaned into it. It was the 20th anniversary of Lollapalooza, and it will be the third annual. We have a Recovery Rocks resource fair, and we had art therapy where we painted rocks, but like rocks. Clearly, I'm, you know, event passports. Yes, I think that's amazing. I could even do like a year-long passport. I will also say you could take the event passports. I'm also a nerd and make them into bookmarks that people can continue to use. Mocktail Madness sounds like a blast. What we do is making up a recovery plan and prevention planning for the spring. I think that's awesome. Yeah, Mocktail Madness, a really easy way to do it is just post one mocktail every week in March. It can be like a really easy thing. Or you can table, and it can be literally, you can have lemonade and call it like lemony snickets. You can make anything up you want. Um, Advocating for these events. I have funding, programming, and student buy-in, but I've just hit a wall with the new supervisors, not understanding the value of party or social style events. Oh, what a good question. Leadership is, we have to advocate everywhere in every 360. And so I think one of the ways that you could have them understand the party or social is weave in that psychoeducation. I don't do anything without being like, and we're going to talk about date rape awareness. And we're going to talk about blood alcohol levels and healthy drinking. And we're going to, so while we know that it's about fun, there's always going to be psychoeducation. The other thing is we have pillars. We have pillars of belonging. We have pillars at the university that our president came up with. It's like the ethic of care, belonging, inclusion. And so anytime I pitch it to any supervisor, I'm usually incorporating our pillars, our university pillars into why I'm doing it. And it doesn't it they can't say no because I'm like I'm in line with your strategic plan. I'm in line with your pillars. I'm in line with your ethic of care, and I'm in line with your sense of belonging. Plus, I'm educating on alcohol and drug. I hope that helps. Okay, we have 5 minutes. Closing reflections. Yeah, good. Um, I love what I do. I hope you can tell. I have never done a webinar. Like I've participated, but I've never led the webinar version. It's very weird just being by myself in my office. But I really appreciate the chat and letting me get a sense of all of that. And sorry if I missed something. I will try and keep up with it. I hope I see you all at the water cooler chats or like send a friend. That way we can have a more open kind of discussion, what works and what doesn't. I'll also bring some more of like the materials that I've created. Yeah, come with questions. Come with questions. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Ren.
Tara, I was I was going to put this in the chat, but just to let folks know, so Tara has mentioned the water cooler chat. Tara is going to be leading our February water cooler chat on February the 10th. So when she's mentioning that, so Tara will be leading that February water cooler chat. So that is February the 10th at 2 p.m. Eastern times. We'll be sending out promotions out soon. The regular, just sign up for our regular water cooler chats. It's a ongoing sign up. And then so if you want to sign up and just put them continually on your calendar, but February the 10th at 2 p.m., Tara will be our next facilitator and moderator. So we hope you can join us.
Awesome. Thank you. And so just so you have it, that's my email at Stockton. That's my phone number. As I tell my everyone, I have very good boundaries. You can text me, you can call me. If I don't call you back, it's not that I don't like you, it's that I have a boundary and I promise I will get back to you. This is our website. It needs a rehab, but at least it needs to be redone. It's my summer to-do list. And then this is our social media page, which we're still working on, but it's SU, so Stockton University Recovery um, Education. And I think one of my final thoughts is I would not be here if it weren't for people like Keith Murphy at Rutgers University and Lita. And so I feel like this is my paying it forward, like use each other and support each other, find a mentor and run things by and don't ever be afraid to take a chance.
Thank you so much, Tara, for sharing of yourself and of your expertise. I do just have a couple of housekeeping slides I'd like to share in closing. I do like to mention that I have been able to capture all of the questions within the chat, so I'll be sure to share that with you, Tara, in advance to the water cooler chat. And as Logan shared, our next water cooler chat will be diving deeper into this conversation with Tara, taking place on February 10th. Again, water cooler chat is titled Substance Free Socials. And then our next free webinar will be taking place at the end of February on the 25th, and we'll be focusing on transitional recovery programming. And of course, we have open registration for our new prevention professional training series that will launch in March. You can learn more about that opportunity by visiting our website. As a reminder to everybody, today's session has been recorded, so you can expect to see that added to our website within 3 business days. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us, and we hope to see you next month at the Water Cooler Chat. Thank you all. Take care.